Thank you, Lila. The next that we have, I'd like to hear from is Mr. Larry Schaefer. Mr. Schaefer. Yes, sir. You have it.
Good evening. Larry Schaefer. I was appointed to the board in August of 2009. When I was appointed, one of my talents is to research. So that's what I started doing. I began to look at files and start to ask questions. This resulted in 3 phases in this project: trust, trust but verify, and verify. The projects are, of course, the dry stack building. I think we've seen a lot about that in the paper. Unfortunately, most of it's true. The intrusion on the TxDOT Pine Street Bridge easement is a problem. Today, I have yet to find anyone that will take responsibility for why it was there. It's pretty obvious when you look at it that it's in the wrong place. We have some theories, but only theories. We have some more problems within the board. We have some pictures which we'll pass around. There are about 280 stalls installed in this building, which, by the way, has been completed about 2 years, never been occupied. Unfortunately, the stalls have what's called bunker boards, which are boards to buoy up and support the bottoms of the boats when they're loaded. Somebody put the wrong bunker boards in 2 years ago. They're too short. Too short means they were supposed to be ordered according to the drawing at 12 inches tall. They're 11.5. Half an inch means that there's a galvanized bracket going to stick up and penetrate the bottom of the boat to sit there. Not a good plan. Loss of revenue. Building's been open been completed more than 2 years now. It has not made a penny. The problem on this TxDOT move, which we've been given no options, we're going to have to move to take off the end of this building quickly. The problem there is going to, amongst costing about $350,000 or more, is also going to reduce for the next 38 years the revenue of these stalls that we're going to take off, 21 of them to be exact. That's about $2 million in some change in lost revenue when we have to do this. We had an architect, consultant, engineer that was in charge of this project, Damon and Associates, whose written contract called for inspections and reports to the boards and to protect the best interests of the owners. And to guard, and I read out of the contract, page 28, item 9A, endeavor to guard owner against defective work. To my knowledge and my great amount of research and a bunch of file cabinets, I've seen no written reports or inspection diaries which are required to be produced under this contract. Mr. Damien also developed a fire suppression plan that was not developed by an NFPA engineer, a certified engineer, and sent us a bill for about $8,000. Moving on from the dry stack debacle to bulkheads. Again, you discovered the bulkheads have been put in for about 2 years. We're having problems right now because the contractors that are putting in the water and electrical are having trouble with the location of the tiebacks, which are about 20 to 25 feet off the bulkheads. They're not straight or perpendicular, apparently. We've asked to Damien Associates for plans. We understand from the contract that it called for a CD and a PDF file. We've asked for all of those things and we've received nothing. Therefore, the contractors are having to hand dig when they get close to these tiebacks because we don't really know exactly where they are, nor do we know that the exact depth. Again, no written reports, no inspection reports, and page 27 of the contract, which we've just quoted, says that the consulting engineer will look after the owner's best interests. Wet slip docks. Good news on the docks is they're completed. Cost us some extra, about $19,000 extra for some dredge work because we couldn't get our schedule together. We have found that one electrical power pedestal on Dock G was missing, just not there. Has not been reported by, again, our engineer, Damien and Associates. And the gang planks are too long. This doesn't seem like a real major problem until you take a look at the picture and find out that the gang plank extends to the power pedestal, and in case of weight turbulence, which happens pretty often, can shear off that pedestal. Again, we'll have some pictures we can pass around to not only council, but to the people in the audience that'd like to look at it. We don't have a solution from our current engineer from that as yet, but they are working on a proposal. So, we paid, by the way, about $435,000 to Mr. Damien and Associates. And we also, Mr. Walker Royal apparently paid about $25,000 to Mr. Damien and Associates for his work. So where we are today, wet slip docks are finished, except for the gang planks, but there's only 5 of those, and we'll get a solution for that. The dock electrical, I got a report at about 5 o'clock that the F and G docks are complete, and that the wires have been pulled, the wires have terminated on the power pedestals, and they're ready for connection, plugging in, if you would, to the shore. The shore power requires special transformers, which would be here about mid-May. So we should have F and G dock completed electrically about mid-May. Again, we're at the mercy of Eaton dock people. These are stainless steel boxes, powder coated, because as we know, they rust. So they're specially fabricated. The B, C, and D docks should follow shortly thereafter, probably by the end of May. Parking and fencing, it's the last item we'll do on this project, except for our dry stack problems. That should be completed probably the end of May or the middle of June. We'll be going out for bids on that matter probably next week as soon as the board authorizes the bids. The water, we're having some programs with. It's being done by Viola, Mr. Jerry Meeks, a city contractor, and he's having to work that into his schedule with other problems such as broken mains or other water. But we have some time. What we're anxious to do is get that water pipe buried, the fire hydrants buried, so that we can in fact phase in the parking lot. We did bought a security camera system for construction phase, and it should be completed within the next few days. We've asked for security lighting from CenterPoint. That looked like such a great idea at the time. Unfortunately, CenterPoint has a very rigorous spec on their light, and you only could buy it from a couple of sources. Those sources do not stock it, and it will take us about 8 weeks to get the light fixture itself. Looked like a good idea. We have some temporary lighting, security lighting installed. We're going to be supplementing it, and eventually we'll have some pretty nice lights, which the advantage of them is they will be on the existing poles. We don't have to put new power poles, run underground wires, or any of those things. And they'll be maintained by CenterPoint, the trucks. The dry stack building, we've got a lot of planning left to do, and we're going to have to figure out who's going to pay for the mistake. We've been very fortunate in these final stages, actually, to have contractors like Shoremasters, which has the contractor that has put in the docks, have put in a very gorgeous product, very, very nicely. They look very nice. They're a nationwide company. We were lucky that they were selected as the vendor. They've been very cooperative to help us, so we don't have to. We again are amateurs. We have real full-time jobs. These people are helping us because they're experts. It's their job to provide docks, to do the electrical for them, and to give us advice. And they've been very generous in doing so. The president of Shoremasters visited the docks just the other day because he was anxious to see, because of the time frame involved, what he could do to help out. Baker & Lawson we hired as our engineer. They've jumped in, they've met our expectations on these projects. So, the final is, we're going to have to figure out who's going to reimburse the taxpayers for these mistakes, errors, omissions in the various phases of the project. And there are a lot of people that were involved and a lot of money. But we're trying to look to the future and get this project done for the citizens of Freeport. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.